Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
There's your shot. Coming down the rail.
I have the privilege of being in the wheelhouse with Captain James Smith of California Dawn 1 and 2. And so James, there's some exciting things happening, new species to target this year. What are you thinking of doing?
Well, we're going to do the first NORCAL overnight bluefin trip. I spent a lot of money in the off season fully equipping this boat with more lights and more speed. And we also added a new Furuno 600. So the plan is this year is to leave the dock around 5 p.m., get offshore and hopefully locate a school, get on the grounds maybe 8, 9 p.m. at night and do nighttime jigging for them. So, but I have the sonar, which will be a big help finding fish in the dark, and then a little bit of trolling with Mad Max's, maybe some live bait fishing. So we're gonna give it a whirl. Obviously, Northern California, the weather's the ultimate equalizer, but we got good weather coming up in the fall, August and September. So we're gonna roll the dice out here and probably running our first overnight trip in the next couple of weeks.
Now, I think this new sonar that you have is really going to be a game changer in finding these tunas. We know they're pelagic, and it's quite hard to target them. Can you show us a little bit about the sonar and how you think it's going to help improve your chances of targeting and locating tuna?
Pretty rough picture here, but basically the sonar works as kind of like a radar would. So it could scan out as far as 1,500 feet. Obviously, we don't use that setting here. Most of the tuna guys like 1,200 or less. But basically, it sends a signal out. You can adjust the depth, you can adjust the range, and out blue water, it's key. You just need a sonar. But it pretty much tells you when you're on bait, you're on fish, and that's just kind of a view. There's a little bit of bait, but it's actually hitting a wall out in front of the boat right now.
So can you show us a little bit of which colors are bait?
Well, basically the red's bait. I'm picking up a lot of, there's a lot of anchovy around the boat, and then you could see kind of the upper hand there. It looks like I'm touching bottom with it right now. So pretty shallow water. It's hard to get a really good clear view in this shallow water in the bay, but you can see some bait fish around the boat.
So this is really like 360 around the boat. So if you see the tuna are chasing some bait, if the bait disappears from most people's sonar screen, you can turn this one on and actually see where that bait is headed and follows to.
Yeah, I mean, if it's following bait or pretty much, following just the tuna themselves at nighttime, or really not following the bait so much, would be following just tuna marks. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking for when we go out.
What do the tuna look like then?
Well, hard to describe. I haven't seen a tuna on this particular model, but you'll know a tuna when you see one. At least on this meter, it's the cat's meow. It's a high-end meter, so we should be able to see them, spot them pretty easy.
So James, it's really never been done up here in Northern California. In fact, most people don't even know that there's bluefin tunas coming in. We've seen some local guys get some nice tunas, but it's really been hit or miss. What are you thinking about doing when you approach these trips?
Well, last year we did a bluefin tuna. It was just a crew trip, and it was my first Northern California, experience with bluefin tuna. We were out trolling Mad Max's. We did really well that day. We had 3, which is, probably a typical day, or maybe even a better than typical day. A lot of, 1 to 4 fish counts, and I think a really high count so far that I've heard up here for trolling has been 6.
Wait, not yet, not yet, not yet. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Yeah! Yes!
But I didn't want to start selling trips. I felt like as a consumer, I would want to have a different experience than just trolling itself. Like trolling's fun and it's great to catch a bluefin, but I wanted to make sure before I started booking trips that I had different avenues of catching them. So this off season, we updated the boat's electronics. We got a scanning sonar. And the whole idea is to do a nighttime trip. Now it's never been done up here as far as I know, but I wanted to just do it and go out and prove like it could be done, and it could be done at a high level. And we have the boat, we have a platform that's amazing. We have all the speed in the world to get to and from the grounds. I have lights, we have sonar, we have high-end electronics, we even have a galley, so we don't have to lug a bunch of coolers on the boat. And this will be a new adventure for me and anybody else who jumps on board this boat up north of Point Conception, that there's a charter boat running bluefin fishing trips, and we're going to be doing them at nighttime. So fingers crossed for what's to come, but I have a feeling it's going to be really successful.
Now, for anglers who have experience in bluefin tuna, they have the gear and tackle that are pretty much fine-tuned for San Diego bluefin tuna. Do you expect to use the same sort of gear, or what do you expect to use up here?
No, absolutely. I mean, a bluefin's a bluefin, whether it's down there or up here. You know, we're catching a lot of similar grade fish, and some smaller grade fish actually surprisingly made the trip up this last year. The previous 3 years, 4 years that there's been numbers caught. I haven't heard of a fish under 100. There's been a lot of fish, 60 to 80 pounds landed up here this season, which is exciting because we know we're getting another grade as opposed to the last few years. Everything has been 100 to 200 pounds and a few pushing 300 pounds. So I'm excited to see that. And I think that, the similar gear that you use for San Diego on the overnight, you got to have your 60 to 80, and then you got to have your 80 to 100 plus pound rod and reel for the nighttime jigging. Because there's two different grades of fish up here. There's a smaller grade, but there's also predominantly a larger grade of fish. And that's probably what we'll see more of than the smaller grade, and that's typically what's been coming in on the boats when we're trolling. The trip I was on, the smallest fish was 100, and they've gone up to 180. But the majority of the guys up here have been doing 60 to 200 pound fish, so pretty exciting stuff seeing that in your own backyard.
How far out do you think you'll have to go? You're leaving from what area?
So we're leaving out of the Berkeley Marina. And most of the tuna have been caught, have been outside the Farallones. And so there's been some fish caught as close as 22 miles from Seal Rock, and then some a little further up on Cordell Bank. But most of the runs for this boat here are, probably going to be less than 60, and maybe majority around 40 miles or less. So for me, it's maybe a 3 hour or less ride from the dock.
What kind of vessel are you going to take out there? Can you tell us a little bit about the Keldon 2?
Well, the Keldon 2, it's a 55 by 22 foot catamaran, and we have state-of-the-art electronics on it. Well, it's fully equipped with the galley. I recently did a repower on the boat, and I have a 22 knot cruising speed. So 22 knots is it's incredibly fast, and it's just a beautiful boat. The bow is 18 feet across from corner to corner, and I have a medium-sized bait capacity, but plenty of bait for a tuna trip. Should we get lucky to hook fish on bait, we have plenty of bait to throw. So we have all the creature comforts of home. It's best words to put it would be Southern California comfort and Northern California speed mixed together into one.
And convenience for us up here in Northern California.
Yeah, well, it's pretty exciting when you think you can go, leave your house, drive to the landing, and possibly be fishing for bluefin in about 3 hours. So it's kind of a treat here.
It's really a dream for us people who like to fish tuna. Well, James, we're going to be checking back with you. I know you're hoping the weather's going to open up in the next few weeks, and we can just see what your experience is. And either way, I really got to applaud you, for really gearing up first class, getting everything together professionally, and really being a pioneer and adventurer and exploring this new territory. And I really hope you can open up the tuna industry for us.
Well, I appreciate that, and fingers crossed for everybody that comes out, and hopefully I'll have something good to report on the next trip out when the weather breaks.
Perfect. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, James.
Thanks.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.